We light a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of surrender to divine love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them and for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony.
Do you feel the tension? Have you been feeling the tension? This is a rhetorical question. I don't want anyone to answer this, but I want you to just check in with yourself. Are you feeling the fear? That is a different question than are you buying into the fear? Are you feeling the fear? I have been noticing all around me, and frankly, I've been noticing within myself an increasing feeling of anxiety, an increasing feeling of exhaustion. And the reason that I think that there's an unfoldment of that is because we are immersed in a collective consciousness, right? I mean, that's part of the teaching that we offer. We are immersed in a collective consciousness, and the collective right now is a collective consciousness of fear, anxiety, and exhaustion. And so remember I asked, are you feeling the fear, not are you buying into the fear? Are you feeling the anxiety, but not buying into the anxiety? Are you feeling the exhaustion, but not buying into the exhaustion? Here's the thing that I keep reminding myself of, is that we are stepping into the unknown. We are stepping into the unknown. Irrespective of the outcome of an election, irrespective of anything, we are always in the process of stepping into the unknown. Do you know what's going to happen 5 minutes from now? No. Do you know what's going to happen 5 seconds from now? No. We're in a constant state of stepping into the unknown. And I think a lot of us are active in this, like, oh, I'm going to hold on, I'm going to hold on, I'm going to hold on for dear life. And I'm going to hold my breath, because here's what I want us to do. Let it go. Take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath. We are all empowered in every single moment to let all of that dissipate. And no one's going to do it for us. That's the thing. Oh, gosh, see, that's the thing. No one's going to do it for us. But we have to take charge. I invite us all to take charge of our own relationship to the circumstances that we are experiencing. Take a deep breath. Now, that deep breath may be a gulp of breath. Ooh, right? That is not so deep. But take a deep breath and relax. You know, I talk about the peace candle every single week, and I say that the peace candle is consistently illuminated as a reflection of that consistent illumination of peace in our own hearts. And like that, we are each and every one of us points of creation for the world we would like to experience. Every single one of us is empowered to create the world we would like to experience. There is really good news in all of the stuff that's happening around us. There's really good news. You ready for the good news? Yes. There is nothing that has ever been created in the realm of experience that cannot be addressed through spiritual principle. What does he mean by that? That was like gobbledygook, right? Well, I'm going to explain it to you. There is nothing created that can't be addressed. Here's what I mean by spiritual principle, that cannot be addressed through love. Through remembering at the core of each and every one of us, we are the expression of the impression of love upon itself. That is the nature of the divinity that is surrounding us, that we are immersed in, and that is who and what each and every one of us is. We are the expression of love, and there is nothing out there that has any bearing on who we choose to be in expression, ever. We are the expression of love, no matter what. Can you get behind that idea? No matter what, no matter the circumstances, we can be the expression of love. I mean, we always are the expression of love. Some of us are just expressing it better than others, and some of us are expressing it not so well. But we are the full expression of love. If we allow love to be the guiding force in our life, then it doesn't matter what's happening out there. Take a breath. We are the creators of our experience. That is a fundamental premise of the New Thought philosophy. We are, each and every one of us, we are creators of our experience. So if we want a different experience, we, each and every one of us, are the point of that change. Each of us has the power to be a positive influence on the entire world. Do you believe that? There may be those among us who are not so quick to say yes, who are sitting there and going, well, I don't know. I'm here to tell you, if you can have the same enthusiasm as those who just said yes, you become a beacon for love, light, life, peace, power, beauty, joy, and harmony in this world. You are empowered in that. We have the power to be a positive influence on the world. We increase our life and our power. You know how we increase our life and our power? By using it, not sitting back and letting life happen, because life is not happening to us. Life is not happening to us. Life is happening, well, if you really want to go through the steps very quickly, life is happening as us. As each and every one of us. Life happens as me. My life happens as me. Your life happens as you. So by using the infinite creative power that we have all that we all have at our disposal, we increase the experience of our life. God is our resource. God, not the man, not some idea of a man out there, but God, the infinite creative power and presence, the infinite resource, the infinite source energy of creation. God is not a being. God is our innate beingness. It is who and what each and every one of us is. God is our resource, and it is up to us to take advantage of this resource. We are not tasked with looking outside ourselves for help. Let us begin to look within. And we are all empowered, no matter the circumstances. Whether we look at it as global circumstances, whether we look at it as national circumstances, whether we look at it as individual circumstances, we are all empowered to be the presence of love. Whether it be from a mansion in Virginia or on a mountain in Peru, our voice and intention matters. That's what that song is about. We all pray the same because there is an intention, I believe, there's an intentionality of love at the core of all prayer. So who you are matters. My call to each and every one of us, my call, it's not often I give a direct call, but I'm going to give a direct call today. that each and every one of us, whether you're here in the room, you're watching online, you're watching at a subsequent time later on in the week, my call is for each and every one of us to engage and utilize our spiritual practice to be a catalyst for collective change, so that we can begin to eliminate the fear, the anxiety, and the exhaustion that we're all experiencing. We are empowered, each and every one of us, to do that right here and right now. Are you willing to take on that mantle? Yes, I love that yes. We are daily building spiritual stamina. That's the thing. We are daily building spiritual stamina through spiritual practice, and this allows us to be proactive, rooted in our faculty of wisdom. We can be guided by wisdom by building spiritual stamina and being proactive in the outflow of our spiritual practice, rather than reactive from uncontrolled emotion. Have you found yourself reactive at all in the last, I hate to say it, but 2 years? Or longer. I will admit, I have found myself on occasion being reactive from uncontrolled emotion. It's those moments where, if you'll pardon the expression, I step off of principle for a moment. I step off of spiritual principle and I let the circumstances dictate my well-being. Well, you hear me say it every single week in some manner or another. Circumstances, experiences, they do not dictate our well-being. We are the expressions of our well-being, and the degree to which we accept that as our power, the circumstances will align accordingly. So by being proactive through spiritual practice, rooted in a faculty of wisdom, and I really want to talk about the nature of wisdom, by being able to listen to Spirit. That's what wisdom means for me. To allow myself to engage with the listening to of Spirit, to find that which is within myself that is inherently wise, because we are, each and every one of us, facets of the infinite wisdom of the universe. I just have to be willing to listen to it and to then act upon it. So in the experience of the world we're living in, what is your go-to? What is your go-to? What is your go-to? When I teach advanced courses in the study of spiritual practice, spiritual prayer, the affirmative prayer treatment form that we teach, one of the things I'm always encouraging students to do is to move to a place where it is no longer a habit to react out of uncontrolled emotion, but to be proactive in addressing the experiences of our lives with spiritual practice, through prayer, through meditation. So what is your go-to right now? Don't judge it. Just open up to an awareness of what it is and know that you are empowered to change it if you would like to change it. So if your go-to is fear, know that you are empowered to allow your go-to, your habit in mind and heart, to be love, no matter what the circumstances look like. In the song, there's this lyric, oh, yes, we have our differences. And I actually messed up the lyrics. You didn't know that. If I hadn't told you, you probably wouldn't even remember that I'm now quoting this lyric, and I actually sang it incorrectly in the song. Now you know. The lyric is, oh, yes, we have our differences, and yes, we have a choice. But when we look beneath the skin, we find we're all one voice. The way I sang it, I didn't write this song. I sang, oh, yes, we have our differences, and yes, we have a voice. And then I looked, I thought, oh, I just sang that lyric incorrectly. And then I had to alter the other lyrics. It all worked. The songwriter, I'm sure, will forgive me. It happens. Yes, we have our differences, and yes, we have a choice. We are empowered in choice. We're being asked to utilize that power this week through choice. And when we look beneath the skin, we find we're all one voice. Irrespective of our differences, we have a shared humanity. And diversity is the strength of unity. Diversity, yes. Diversity is the strength of unity. We are not here to be uniform. Unity does not mean uniformity. We are not here to say we must all think and act alike. That's why I begin every single Sunday by saying, I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm not here to tell you what to think. That is entirely your responsibility. Who we choose to show up as in this world, let us celebrate the uniqueness that is God's gift through us to be expressed. Diversity is a strength, and I choose to celebrate that diversity in everything I think, everything I say, and in everything I do. Because irrespective of the diverse ways we show up, I still know one fundamental truth about every single person I encounter, and that is when I see you, I see the face of God. I know the truth of you, fundamentally, is that you are God. You are the divinity showing up as you. And what a magnificent thing that is. Thank you, thank you, thank you for showing up as God. This past week, I was at the Unity Southwest Region Conference. Actually, I shouldn't say I was just there. I actually was the chairperson putting that conference together and had a lot of say in what was experienced during the week. And one of the things that we did while we were there, there are a couple people who were in the room, and they will know that I prefaced this experience by saying the introverts are going to shudder at what I'm about to ask you to do. So I do a workshop called Spiritual Speed Dating. And I'm going to give away the conceit of the workshop. I usually won't do this because if you ever want to experience spiritual speed dating, I want you to be surprised at some of the elements of it. So in spiritual speed dating, I set up 2 rows of chairs, and I have people sit across from each other. And it's like speed dating, so there's a lot of movement because every time the bell rings, once every minute, you have to get up, move to the next chair, and the people on the other side shift the other direction, then you're sitting in front of a new person. And what we do in the first go-around is we look at the person across from us and we express to them the divine ideas we understand and know about them. We express to them through language their divinity, however we can, whatever is coming up through us to be expressed. We express that to them. We do that for an entire round. If there are 30 people, it takes 30 minutes minimum to do that. And so you get a lot of information at you. People telling you what they see in you, your divine attributes. The second go around is where people really go, oh gosh, I don't know if I'll be able to do this. The second go around is to sit across from the person and then express to them what you understand about your own divine attributes. To make affirmative statements about yourself, to know the truth of your being. And that, it always starts off, there's an interesting thing that happens. It always starts off with people a little timid, like, oh, I don't know if I want to say this, but I'm going to say it, okay. And by the end, you can't get them to shut up. It's true, right? Yeah. Not that I would ever want you to shut up. That's a terrible way of phrasing it. But one of the quotes that I have found that I lead into the second section of is applicable today. It's a quote of Charles Fillmore. It's from an unpublished talk transcript that came across my desk once upon a time. And he said this in a message once. He spoke these words. He said, "We speak to God in the third person." I'm going to be Charles here for a moment. We speak to God in the third person. Over here, I'm making a little commentary. So in speaking to God in the third person, we're talking about God beyond us, right? So we speak to God in the third person and then in the second person. When we're speaking to God in the second person, we're speaking to God as the you of you, like God is within me, right? Okay, so then he continues, he says, in our present development, and this is, I think, a talk that he gave in the teens or the 20s of the last century. In our present development, we speak to God in the second person. God is the Spirit within you. So you notice the languaging of that. God is still somehow separate. It's something within each and every one of us, but there are aspects of us that are not wholly divine, okay? God is the Spirit within you. And then he invites us to talk to God all that you can. Then he says this, but the time is coming when we shall speak of God in the first person. God as us. For we shall displace all separation. We are here to fulfill this law of divine unity, to unify ourselves as this spirit of love within every one of us. How will you choose to move throughout your week, this week? Will you choose to move throughout your week, this week, by being the spirit of love that you inherently are and speaking as God, not to God? When we pray, part of the way I teach prayer is that we are affirming, utilizing the voice of God, not praying to God. And at the core of all of that, what I'm going to encourage each and every one of us to do is to allow compassion. And so perfect what you read today. Allow compassion to be at the root of every decision you make. It is really, really, really easy to get lost in an us versus them rhetoric. We've been watching this unfold, for years. We can be the healing force of that rhetoric. Do you feel empowered to be a healing force in this world? Yes. It is easy to let us versus them lead us to fear. Are you willing to let go of your own fear to take that gulp and step forth as the full expression of compassion? What I mean by compassion is unconditional love. Unconditional, no conditions. It is not that I look at that person and they were only deserving of my love, my expression of love, if they act in accordance with the way I think they should act. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm saying, irrespective of what I see in front of me, what I choose to see is love, period, full stop, end of sentence. What connects us is so much more powerful than what divides us. Love and compassion, they transcend the boundaries. We are the ones who have placed the boundaries on love and compassion, so we are the ones who can break down the boundaries of love and compassion. How will you choose to be today? I choose not to fear. I choose to be engaged. I choose to be active. Action counters the fear, and you know what? Fear festers in inaction. So if you want to overcome fear, be active in that. When we lift our hearts together, as the song says, when we lift our hearts together, we collectively rise above any fear. And you know what? None of us is in this alone. You have a community that will remind you the truth of your being no matter what, in any given circumstance. And if somebody in this community is not telling you, then you come to me. Don't tattle on them. I'm not saying tattle on them, but you come to me and I will remind you. Love is the great harmonizer and healer, Charles Fillmore offered. If you want to heal and harmonize any situation, see love at the center of it. We are each responsible to be rooted in and guided by love. And when I say responsible, I mean we have the capacity, we have the ability to respond in any given situation, rooted in and guided by love. How will you contribute to the harmony? All the voices singing. How will you contribute to the harmony rather than the discord, the ideas of separation that are so pervasive in our world right now? How will you contribute to the harmony? What will you do? We may be feeling a collective gulp, because that can also mean the fear, right? Ooh. There is a call in that feeling. I don't fear fear sometimes. I don't fear fear because what fear offers to me is an opportunity to be reflective It is an opportunity to bring to the level of awareness something that has been living below the level of awareness. There is a call in that collective gulp, in that feeling, to embrace the infinite spiritual truth, to step forward, to look beyond the surface ideas of separation to the deeper sense of what connects us. Rumi offered this: out beyond the ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. It's there where the soul lies down in that grass, and the world is too full to talk about ideas, language. Even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. Find the connection. Find the connective tissue. That's the call. Peace and blessings. You are magnificent. At another conference I went to a few weeks ago, I've been to a lot of conferences lately, there was a minister who got up and he said these words, and it really struck me, and it's something that I'm looking at exploring a little bit. He said, I think oftentimes we forget that Jesus was political, but not partisan. And so I'm making a political statement today, but not a partisan statement. I'm encouraging you all, if you have not already voted, to make sure you vote and to allow yourself to be guided and led through compassion and love. If you are eligible to vote and you have not done so already, I sent my ballot in several weeks ago. If you are eligible and you haven't already, please make sure that you vote this week. No matter who you vote for, let your voice be heard. Let your decision be guided by compassion. And here's one of the things that there's a personal plea in this for me. I have heard the phrase that politics don't matter in my life. I've heard people say that. If you feel that you can separate politics from your personal life, what a blessing that is. You are living a privilege that I, as a member of the LGBTQIA community, do not have. Politics directly affect my life. Anyone who is part of an underrepresented community, politics affect our lives directly. And so I'm asking you, if you can be a voice in support of our well-being, to please do so.